Hi, everybody. I am Shelly B, a conservative sister surviving in a hot met world. Oh my God. Okay. I'm tongue tied because I was having a technical difficulty. So I'm going to start again. I am Shelly B, a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world. There, I got it out. Is the mainstream media lying to us about the effect that tariffs are having on China? We're going to get into that and we're going to watch several videos about this and we're going to have a discussion. But first, can you please like, share, and subscribe to this channel? I was having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I got it together now. Thank you for anybody that was listening before. I'm sorry for the technical situation. Apparently my mic wasn't working or something like that. So I had to reset some things, but I'm back. And again, please like, share, subscribe to this channel. Please. The whole reason why I come on here is to elevate our frequencies. And like I was saying before, Democrats have a 20% approval rating, and Donald Trump's approval rating keeps rising and rising. And I really feel that that last portion of 20% is probably mostly Black folks, because Black folks was always the deciding factor in them winning for decades. You understand? So I do feel that it's just us left that's, lingering. And I don't know why, because they haven't done anything for us since civil rights time. I just feel like it's time to try something different in a new era. And that brings me back to the fact that, mainstream media, to me, I feel like it's just always lying. It's propaganda media, it's media of the left. So of course you're only going to get one narrative on that. And I like to come on here and show you guys different people from all over the world that have a more truthful narrative, a more informative narrative. It's like, if you're just listening to mainstream media, you're not getting anything of the truth at all, period. I can't even, it was a time when you will probably get a portion of the truth. Now I feel like you're getting nothing of the truth at all with mainstream media. You have to get out there and listen to other narratives. Listen to the independent journalists, listen to the independent media. It's millions of people out here that you can listen to. Every time I come in here, I like to share with you some of my favorites. So today, I want to show you Ron Yates, and I feel like I have posted his stuff before, but like I just like to show you guys different people that you can look at, because let me see, I'm trying to find the right video, because there's so many different people with different narratives out here that are not what you're used to hearing, and they just have better facts, better receipts, and instead of arguing with people, and defending a party, it would be nice if you guys would really try to do the research and do the work to see, what is what, Sorry, everything's all discombobulated now since I had to restart the stream. That happens sometimes, but, we're going to get through it. So this right here is Ron Yates, okay? And I like his show, like I was saying before, if anybody's listening, because he talks about finance things, all type of political things and stuff. But I just like his perspective. He's really smart, and I like, how he puts his stuff together. And like I said, most of the independent journalists, the independent media, or the people, the experts and stuff that I watch, I just like them because they show the receipts. Liberal media and the mainstream media, they never have any facts. They just put out there what they want you to know and a narrative that they want you to follow. And it's like, you cannot question it. Anybody that does question it is censored or slandered or whatever. And I can't even stand watching it no more. And like I was saying before, CNN seems like they're trying to have a more balanced, narrative, but it's too late now. And, it's just too late, and it's disingenuous at this point. And, I see that they're trying because they know the tide is shifting and they're losing their viewership, in droves. So they know they got to do something. But I mean, I'm telling y'all, you guys should watch news from like all over the world. If you go get Chinese news, you're going to hear a whole different story. Like, I'm going to show you videos from there where the people are revolting and asking for Xi Jinping to leave office. They're very pissed. They don't understand what the problem is. Like, why can't, they make a fair deal? They charge us tariffs. They charge us so much tariffs on their cars and stuff. We can't even buy them. Have them here. It's just, they just have unfair practices. And a lot of people say, a lot of nations that are part of the World Trade Organization say that China is just shady and they just always doing underhand stuff and they don't like them in the market. And that's why a lot of the countries are kind of banding together against them to make deals to replace them, because they just feel like they dominate the market and they do shady stuff. And I just read today that of all of the nations that are in the World Trade Organization, they had like 400 like suits and complaints and stuff, and 200 of them were just from China alone. So most of it, they do a lot of shady stuff throughout the world, and they have claims with different countries all over the world for shady stuff they be doing in commerce and stuff. So, a lot of times I find, and I can only speak for my people because I don't know what other people do. I just pay attention to mine. And I just feel like a lot of the times we jump on a narrative and we don't understand what the fuck is going on. We don't understand what's going on. Plus, I don't care what anybody says. If you live in America, why would you side with an enemy to destroy your country? You live here, regardless of what the United States is doing. I live here. My child lives here. I'm trying to get the most out of my time being here because it's my goal when I retire to leave. I really want to leave and go be somewhere else when I retire. But I just can't understand the mentality of like, oh, let's not even have common sense here of what is going to be the righteous thing to do here. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like a lot of people are really ignorant about tariffs, how they work, what situations we were in with different nations and stuff as far as the tariffs being unfair. That's why a lot of the nations came to make a deal, because they realized it was unfair. And I kind of think it's smart that this is happening because it's making everybody want to renegotiate these deals and, come to a fair agreement. Now, that would be really nice if the whole world could come to new deals and everybody feels like they're being treated fairly and all the tariffs are free or equal or whatever. Some countries might not even get no tariffs because they put in their factories here and stuff like that. So you have to look at the whole narrative. You guys are only hearing one side of a story, and that side of the story is always so dramatic and so bad. And so that's why everybody's walking around half crazy, because just like with COVID, they were able to make you move because everybody was scared. You understand? So you have to have discernment. I talk about discernment all the time, but let's just listen to what this guy Ron Yates is going to say. I like this video. It's a little over 20 minutes long. I might try to skip it, but I just feel like he had a lot of good things to say here about this, so you can understand what is going on and not just falling for the mainstream media narrative that we're going to die without China and that we have to have China. Like, there's not a whole world out there. Just like Xi Jinping said, oh, we don't need America because, we were here for 5,000 years ago. Okay, that's great. So they're saying that they can make their way without us, and we could probably make our way without them, because all it is just a matter of, the things that they make, sending it somewhere else to be made. You know what I'm saying? They have so many shady tactics that they be using over in China. And I feel like anybody could do that. You know what I'm saying? If they wanted to exploit people, you know what I mean? So I feel like, China is also mad because they got cut out of the Panama Canal deal. So if you guys don't know about that, you need to go read about it and see. That's probably the main reason why they're in their feelings, why they didn't want to make a deal over the tariffs and stuff, because he kind of cut them out of like the biggest thing by cutting them out of the Panama Canal and all that. So that's the story for you guys to look up on your own. All of the videos that I'm going to show you today will be in the description on my Facebook and on the YouTube channel. So let's just see what he has to say.
For years of mocking, stealing, and manipulating the global economy, China is officially on its knees. That's right, guys. The CCP is panicking, and the proof, it's undeniable. I mean, they're now publicly begging President Trump to end his brutal tariffs. But here's the twist. President Trump, he's not even answering the phone. So this is the moment that they never thought would come. 130 nations. Yes, you heard that right, guys. 130 nations have now rushed to the negotiating table, desperate to avoid the same fate that China is facing. And in Beijing, let's just say the silence from Washington is louder than bombs. So, folks, what you're about to hear is the most savage trade power play in modern history. And it's not just about the tariffs. I mean, we're talking about America rising again. We're talking about factories coming home, China losing its grip on the Panama Canal, and President Trump literally cutting the puppet strings of the global elite.
Now, this is what people don't really understand about this whole situation. Is the reason why China was able to dominate like that is because they had our crooked politicians taking kickbacks and doing the most to try to get them, give them what they wanted, and that's over now. You know what I'm saying? So, it's the end of, send all our jobs, outsource them there for a little kickback or whatever. That's over. And I can only a damn fool would believe that it wouldn't be better to manufacture more things in America. We don't make anything here hardly anymore. And like all our factories are done. The middle class, there's no jobs left. And I do feel like the future is going to be people that can do work with their hands, people that have vocational skills and stuff like that. Because nobody needs office workers no more because AI replaced all of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, and I feel like, AI and robotics might replace a lot of these jobs too, but I feel like you guys need to get in where you fit in. And I feel like America still has some factories. They make it seem like Americans are so fat and lazy and can't work how Chinese work, but that's just not true. And there's all kind of countries all over that's willing to jump right in and put their factories somewhere else and make the exact same things we need from China. So you guys have to look at it different and stop being so damn scared. I can't stand scared ass people. You know what I mean? It's going to take a little bit of work, a little bit of discomfort to switch up things. Change always has a little bit of discomfort to it. But damn, I mean, we can't be worse off as a nation than we were with the way the policies are set right now. It has to change.
And get this, guys. We've got the receipts. We're going to hear from Peter Navarro, UAW's top brass, and even President Trump's administration's secret plan to turn Panama into an anti-CCP fortress. Ladies,
that's what I'm telling you. They mad about that Panama Canal because they had that in the bag with the Democrats. The Democrats, whatever money they was getting kicked back for that deal, that was just a major trade hub, and that would they would have really have dominated the market with that. And they cut them out of that deal. That's why they're in their feelings. That's the reason why. That's the part of the story that you're not hearing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a trade war. It's economic warfare, and we're winning. Now, if you guys appreciate the daily news updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate the support. Seriously, guys. And
I like this channel. The link is in the description. You guys should watch it.
Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper into what's happening right now, April 15th, 2025. By the way, if you haven't paid your taxes, go ahead and get your taxes paid because they're due today. Anyway, this is a full-blown collapse of China's economic stronghold, and it's all because President Trump called their bluff. After years, decades of watching China push us around, they're finally up against the ropes. Factories are slowing down. Investors are fleeing.
And see, that's what the mainstream media is not telling you. I'm going to show you some videos. Their factories are already starting to close down already. And their shit is sitting in the ports, and American companies are not buying it and this and that. It might take a minute, a little bit, but everybody's going to recalibrate and figure out how they're going to, make it work. That's how anything happens. That's just like how they figured out how to outsource all our jobs. Now they're going to try to get them back. Who can argue about trying to create more jobs here, putting more factories here, a lot of industry that we could make here to make it here? Why would you just depend on somebody like that? Especially they're like enemies damn near. You understand? They're communists. They're not really friends of America. They have friends in America that help them dominate the market through their kickbacks and all kinds of schemes and stuff, but they are not really friends of America.
Their economy, which once looked invincible, they're now staggering under the weight of President Trump's tariffs. And instead of lashing out, well, they're waving the white flag. That's right, guys. They're waving the white flag. Just yesterday, China did something that they've never done before. They publicly asked Trump to cancel all tariffs, all of them, not negotiate, not lower, cancel. That's how desperate they've become. And what did Trump do? He just ignored them. He didn't even acknowledge the request. That is what power looks like when it's
And I feel like Americans are so scary all the time. Just like they were afraid with COVID, they were able to make you scared and you got a shot and like anything. Everybody's so scared and weak and skittish and shit. Like he had balls. He was like, listen, we need to make this deal more fair and we want this, that, and the third. And that's it. And they didn't want to. He was Breaking Bad, and now he wants to make a deal, but he don't want to. I feel he should try to make a deal, but maybe it's something that we don't know about it. Why they don't want to make it, I don't know.
Finally back in American hands. Now, no more appeasement, no more weakness, just results. Isn't that wonderful? But let's go ahead and rewind just for a second here, because this wasn't random. This was strategy, brutal, beautiful strategy, guys. So Peter Navarro, President Trump's director of trade and manufacturing policy, he laid it out very clear with crystal clarity. For decades, the global economy has been rigged against America. And let me break it down for you guys. Other countries, they go ahead and slapped heavy tariff. Other countries slapped heavy tariffs on our goods. Meanwhile, we let their junk roll off in.
And you know what? That's the damn truth, because all of these countries, you can go Google and look, maybe not on Google, they might not show, but you can go look and find the list of the tariffs and what everywhere was charging us more. Like nobody was charging us the same. Like everywhere was charging us more money. That's why they all came and was like, okay, we'll make a deal, because it's only fair. The only reason why they were getting away with charging us more, because we have a crooked ass government that says, okay, well, you give me a few $1 million and we're going to cut it through USAID or however they're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Or however crooked way they find to launder the money, and we'll give you this lower tariff rate. You understand? That's how that happens. Only a damn fool would want that to keep being like that.
Into our American markets for free. They cheat with non-tariff barriers, currency manipulation, VAT taxes, illegal subsidies, dumping products at below market prices just to destroy our industries. Japan has technical barriers to block American cars from even entering their market. Europe and Australia literally ban American pork through phony regulations. The result? America has been bleeding money, $1.2 trillion per year.
You know how many countries, sell us their cars and their tariffs are so high that we can't get theirs, or they don't allow it. You understand? So it's bullshit. You know what I mean? I guess he's been in that sector where he knows what's going on. We don't know because we don't do business with all these countries. But a lot of business people, they say it's true about China. And how the hell do they have over 200 cases with different countries with the World Trade Organization for the messed up stuff they be doing? And everybody say they don't follow the rules and they do whatever they want to do because they have our crooked ass government to protect them.
Every year. And in total, Peter Navarro says that we've lost like $18 trillion in wealth since we started running trade deficits. That's not just numbers, guys. That's the cost of closed factories. That's the broken towns. I'm sure some of you guys.
All our industry left here when they made those deals. I think Clinton started it. I'm not really sure. But all our industry left when they made those deals. You understand? And it was just pure greed for the politicians. You understand? And, we don't make anything here really hardly anymore, And another thing the mainstream they don't tell you is all the trillions of dollars that Trump made for this country, having all these people put their factories here, because if you put your factory here, you don't have to pay any tariffs. That's a bargain. There are so many people want to put factories here. It's not even funny, which that means that creates jobs. That means, it's a stronger middle class. If you can get the housing costs down, people could really live a decent life here. And I feel like over time and decades, it will be a great place to be. Only a dummy would want to stay the way it is. I don't even understand how anybody defends Democrats with how horrible they have destroyed this country. They are horrible. Now, don't get me wrong. Republicans have their shit too. And they, even like Elon Musk, that we caught them stealing too. But it's mostly Democrats across the board, because they don't care about America, because they are globalists. Understand they are globalists. They are not nationalists. You guys hate nationalists because you're stupid and you don't understand the difference. I would pick a nationalist any day because that just means they are nationalists. They like this country. Just like all the migrants, they be outside waving their Mexico flag and their Ecuadorian flag and all this and that because they are nationalists of their country. You understand? We live here. We should be nationalists to this country because we live here. I don't care what nobody say about Africa. If your ass get locked up abroad, ain't nobody coming from Africa to get your ass and shit. It's going to be this country right here. So we need to stop being so dumb and really try to like, you know, really see this place be better. You understand? I don't. The way that it's going, it's not going to be nothing left for us here. You're already losing all the industry is gone. Now you're about to get all your industry taken away by AI and robots and stuff like that. Y'all better wake up. I don't understand. I can't understand the mentality at all.
You guys have driven through some of these broken down towns and you're like, how did things get so dilapidated? I've seen it in parts of driving through Alabama and many southern states, but I'm sure you've seen it in other places. That's the missing middle class here, guys.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nobody had the spine to stop this thing until Trump came along. He said, enough, guys. We're charging them what they've been charging us.
Yep.
You want to play games? We're going to go ahead and flip the board on you. And it was called crazy. They said it was dangerous. Some people called it racist, which I don't even understand how they call that racist, but whatever. The media trashed it. The globalists, they sneered. And now those same countries, they came crawling back one by one, hat in hand.
You know why? And this is how dumb they have everybody thinking, how dumb they have the people's mentalities. American and everywhere around the world, they make the joke, Americans are fat, they're lazy, they waste money. We're known for that. You understand? We make money and we spend it as fast as we get it. We buy all of this shit, sneakers, pocketbooks, and all. You know, we just shop, buy. We consume so much. You understand? No other country anywhere consumes as much as Americans. They need our money. People acting like we don't have no leverage and we're going to die without China. Stop buying that cheap ass shit any fucking way. You understand? Why wouldn't you pay a little bit more money to give somebody a job in your country? It's not like it's that much more money. You understand? To make it here and it probably be of better quality. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you how cheap it is to make all this shit. You understand? So what? Would I pay $5 more for something made in America? So what? You guys waste your money anyway buying all these European designers and stuff like that. We waste so much money. Thank you, Dave. We waste so much money on bullshit. You understand? But you're worried about what's going to happen if we cut China out and, you know, make our own tech things here. That was one of the things Donald Trump said that I like too. That all of those components for a lot of the technology and stuff, he wants to make it in America. You understand? Now China's propagandizing Americans by putting videos of factory workers and all of that stuff like that. But there are factories in America that run very efficiently and they do the work just fast, probably a better quality too. I remember I had ordered some boots off of the internet, didn't know that they was coming from China. That shit got here. It didn't look nothing like the picture. We know this happens all the time. They scam us. They think we're stupid, and we are stupid if we're doing business with a country and they're charging us high tariffs and we're not charging it to them. I mean, they think Americans are stupid. Watch their media and see what they say. See what they say. Yep. Quality over quantity. I'm telling you. And then the Chinese blew it up, which we already knew, but people still buy it anyway. These luxury brands and stuff like that. You know that you're getting bullshit. You're getting bullshit. You know it. But you buying it because it has somebody else's name on it. It makes no sense. I learned this early on in the fashion industry when I was a model, and I used to do fit modeling and different things. And I remember one time we had like these sweatsuits. No lie. The same exact identical sweatsuit. One was Victoria's Secret, one was Juicy Couture, and the other was Rainbow Shop. Now the Rainbow Shop one was $20. Okay, I'll never forget these prices because it's unbelievable. the rainbow shop one was like $20, right? The Victoria's Secret one was $75, and the Juicy Couture one was like $200 or more. Mind you, they all come off of the same assembly line, same factory, whole shit. And when I saw that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Another time, same thing. Same factory did Ralph Lauren, Old Navy, and State Property. Y'all remember the State Property brand? Who was it? Some hip hop rapper. I can't even remember his name, child. Beanie Siegel. State Property. They all had the same little, what is it called? Not an Oxford, like a golf type of shirt with the little buttons right here. Theirs was one price point. Then you had Old Navy, of course, was probably the cheapest, and Ralph Lauren was the most expensive because the fabric that Ralph Lauren had was original to him, whereas the State Property one and the Old Navy one wasn't. Just the logos were different, and if maybe Old Navy's one didn't even have no logo on there, but Ralph Lauren has special buttons, special fabric, and all of that makes it more money. So when I saw that, and then I started realizing that all the clothes was like 300% markups and stuff like that, and how American clothes are sized up because we're so fat, and they know that the people don't want to buy it in their right size, so they make the size smaller than what they really are on the labels and stuff. So they always it's full of shit. And honestly, you should just demand the quality thing. Or if you're going to make cheap shit, make it here. I mean, I guarantee you, once this gets up and running, you will have factories here that make every price point of clothing. You understand? And I just feel that they'll be better. I just feel they will.
Now, of course, I need to show you guys how over 130 countries, yes, 130 countries have begged President Trump's administration for a deal. Now I'm going to name names.
Now, why don't the mainstream media don't tell you this? They make it seem like we're going to be destitute and like we're going to be a mess without China. China's on TikTok propagandizing us to think the same. It's like, come on. It's like, we can't be worse off in this country than we are right now. It's terrible. Who cannot see it? I don't understand what level of propaganda, brainwashing, hoodwinking. I don't know what it is, but it's like the same exact shit that Malcolm X talked about decades ago. It's the same exact thing. It's like people cannot wake up and see these people. He said liberals are the enemies of America. And he never lied. Look at the stuff they do. Rush in millions of migrants, send all your jobs abroad because they're globalists. They don't care. All they care about is controlling the global economy, controlling all the resources of the world, and controlling all the people. I'm telling you, Malcolm X peeped that shit back then, and we're still entangled in it, and we don't get it. And then you're mad at the people that's trying to save your dumb ass. I don't understand it.
I'm also going to explain the strategy and how it's working. And I'm going to show you that this isn't just about tariffs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is about economic sovereignty. Now, before we go there, if you've had enough of being financially manipulated like America was, if you're tired of scrambling while they print money and call it policy, you need to take action, folks. I'm just saying. So, and for those of you guys just now joining the live, appreciate you guys joining us. Please take a second, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. So what happens when the world's...
Hit the like button and subscribe to this one too. Subscribe to this one that he's on because it has lots of great information, but please like, share, and subscribe mine too.
Biggest abusers of American trade finally get hit in the face with their own medicine. They fold fast.
Listen, they say that they be doing too much. The whole world is like, no, like that's why all of these, that's why I'm like, it's like chess, because that's why all of these countries are coming together, because Chinese dominate the market from everyone, not just us. And I feel like the whole rest of the world kind of want to just like, put them out of it. No empire lasts forever. It is what it is. And they need to make a fair deal that's fair for everybody, and everybody trade amongst each other, whatever, and make it fair. I don't see what the big deal is. And I don't see why Democrats are fighting so hard to keep allowing them to do this. I don't get it.
What does Mike Tyson say? Everybody's got a plan till you get hit in the face, right? So President Trump, he rolled out a very simple but devastatingly effective plan. We're going to change. We're going to charge them what they've been charging us. I think it's pretty simple, right? It's just
How are you
fair.
gonna be mad at that?
No more lopsided deals. No more sweetheart exemptions. This is called reciprocal tariffs. And it's the first time America has stood up and said, hey, look, we're done being the world's
And people in this
and I think
country
he's
sound
putting
so
it very
stupid. Oh, let's just keep letting China dominate the market and sell us a bunch of cheap bullshit. And like, because we're scared. We're scared. We don't think that we can do anything. I'm telling you, that's the mentality that Democrats put in their people, that you can't do it. Nothing can be done. You know, you need us for everything. You can't make a decision on your own. You're all failures. You know, that's the mentality that they put in you. It's ridiculous. You can do anything you want to damn do. You understand? You think we're going to die without China? You know, we're going to die if we keep these people, these globalists in office. Let's get our farms back. Let's get more healthier food. Shout out to RFK. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see nothing wrong with what they are doing. Okay, you made a mistake. They're doing a good job. Just admit it and leave it alone. You know, I don't see, nobody can ever explain to me what they are doing wrong so bad. I don't see it. I just don't see it. But I can tell you 99 things wrong that Democrats have done since 1960s. It's crazy.
Nicely there. And what happened? Well, I think it's pretty clear what happened. Over 130 countries, yes, 130 countries suddenly picked up the phone and said, hey, can I speak to Mr. President Trump, please? Yeah, they all of them wanted one thing. They all wanted a deal. They wanted a new trade agreement, a reset, a way to escape the pressure that Trump had applied with surgical precision. So, and we keep seeing the pattern unfold. These are the same countries that mocked us. They lectured us. They hollowed out our industrial.
They all were talking shit at first when he first said he was going to do them tariffs, but then they thought about it and it was like, what are we arguing for? Like, they pay us more than we pay them. It's only fair. We look stupid. We're going to starve. You know, we're going to ruin our whole economy over this. Let's just make a deal. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Base for decades. And so now they're lining up outside of President Trump's office with their hats in their hand, asking for a second chance. I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious at this point. And they should feel humiliated as well. But it's just basic math. It's economics, right? And while they panic, China is in full-blown damage control mode, right? Now,
they are rioting and doing the most over this. They feel that China should make a deal. The people are pissed. They're not showing you that on mainstream media. China is not going to show you that on TikTok. Their propaganda site that they have here in America. I'm telling y'all, you got to wake up.
All known the truth for years. China hasn't just been a competitor. They've been engaged in economic warfare. Okay. So let me be very frank with you guys. This was not just about cheap goods. It was about flooding our markets to shut down U.S. factories. And they knew what they were doing, manipulating currency to gain unfair advantage, forcing American companies to hand over their intellectual property just to do business in China.
And you know how they do. You understand? They copy every dang thing. I look at the hair industry. There's not one. I think there's only one manufacturer left here. There's no distributors left for hair care products. It's like they dominate the market, and then they don't even put the quality of what they had. It's really deep how they did the hair industry. I got to make a video about that.
You freaking kidding me? And while they've built a digital police state, crushed dissident and spied on the world, including us. And for some reason, our so-called leaders just let it happen. Obama, Biden,
yes, they did.
George W. Bush, Clinton.
Obama was a big old globalist. That's why I stopped. That's why after his first election, his first term, and I saw what he was doing, I said, I'm done with him too, because they are people that are a part of the globalist agenda. They work for globalists. They wanted the globalist agenda. They want to rule the world. They want to have a one world government, a one religion, and a one group of rich elite people that control everybody. And the rest of the world is not going for it. You understand? They're not going for it. And I'm glad to see this day. I'm happy to see this day. People always talk about, oh, the system's so corrupt and the system don't work for us and this and that. But now that they're trying to fix it, y'all fighting to hold on to it. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
They all looked the other way while China slowly bought up our land. They slowly bought up our ports, our tech, even our politicians. Trump, I don't think Trump can be bought, honestly.
To me, no foreign country should be able to buy land here, especially if they're not creating jobs. That's ridiculous. That's the same thing they did over in Africa and stuff like that. And then what it's like once you get, it's like anything. Once you get people in your house, it's hard to get them to leave. They're having a hard time getting those people out of Africa. They done grew roots. You know, you don't want that. I don't know. You know, the history that America has is the history that America has. You know what I mean? Every people gets conquered throughout history and this and that. The reality is that all of that's irrelevant and that's in the past and that's old history. Right now, we live here. And unless you got somewhere else to go abroad, we need to make it work here and get the most out of this administration to make us better while they're there because we live here. Not in China, not in El Salvador, not in Israel, not in Africa, not in anywhere else, but right here in America.
Trump ended up just flipping the table on those guys.
He sure did.
The trade war isn't just about economics; it's about reclaiming our independence. And of course, we gotta talk about what someone who actually benefits from these tariffs said firsthand. The president of the UAW, the president of the United Auto Workers, he laid out how President Trump's strategy is actually bringing jobs in factories back to the United States. Now, you don't want to miss what he says about NAFTA, Ross Perot, and the giant sucking sound that gutted America's working class. Ladies and gentlemen, this next part, it gets personal real quick. But first, real quick, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, stress the freak out.
He's going to talk about a financial thing that he's doing, which is great, but we're going to skip over this just a little bit.
America's been buried under red tape for decades, crippling small businesses, stopping energy projects, making it nearly impossible for companies to grow. And so Trump said, hey, enough. And he started cutting through the nonsense, slashing these job-killing regulations and clearing the path for real growth. Step 2, American energy dominance. We've heard about this before, but while Democrats worship windmills and foreign oil, Trump is unleashing trillions of dollars in clean coal, natural gas, and U.S. oil. The goal is to make energy so affordable and so abundant that America becomes
That's
the cheap.
How corrupt this government is. Why would you use resources from another country when you have it right here? It's like you block people from using it right here to make money for yourself with your greedy ass and for another country. It makes no sense. That's how greedy and corrupt the government is. It's horrible. They destroy all the farmers. They have all these chemical companies and stuff making the food and everything. And then you wonder why everybody's so fat in America. Because my doctor told me, he said, the reason why people are fat here, he said, it's not because, and I lost like 35 pounds with this doctor. I liked him. Shout out Dr. Davidson. But he said the reason why people are fat here is because of the chemicals and the preservatives in our food. When they put preservatives in food, it's to keep the food from breaking down. So when you eat it, it stores abnormally in your body. That's why obese people have really strange looking backs and all of that. And you have fat stored under your stomach and on your neck. Like they call them abnormal fat stores. That's what the body does because it doesn't know how to process these chemicals and these preservatives. You understand? And you damn near have to starve yourself to purge all that junk out of your body. It's deep. You understand? So, you know, this is not good for us. You understand? We need to get rid of a lot of these big corporations and give it back to the people and create jobs for the people and make cleaner products and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. And I love everything that RFK is doing. America is too fat. We don't eat good. And it's just a mess. You know, we are a joke throughout the rest of the world how fat the people are over here.
Cheapest place on earth to manufacture. Step 3, tax reform. So Miller said it loud and clear. Trump's tax policy is designed to make America the world's #1 place to invest, build, hire, and grow. This is not theory. It's already happening, and we're seeing evidence of it. Factories are coming back. Supply chains are being restructured, and the elites, they're losing control.
Yes, they are.
This is what we mean when we say America first.
And they're losing their money because their money was coming from our tax dollars and they shut that shit down. So now they are mad now. You understand? Because their little meal tickets are cut off. Same thing with China. Their little meal tickets are cut off. They little, little minions that they had to help them get these policies set so that they can save money on these tariffs and commerce and all that. That's over now. It's interesting. I want to see it all play out to the end. I wish they would leave these people alone and let them do their work.
No, and so now let's contrast this with what we've seen in the past 30 years from the globalists, right? They told us it was more efficient to ship jobs to China. They said we would save money by outsourcing our critical industries. And they promised prosperity and delivered dependency, right? Well, let me ask you, where did all that?
You know why they want the people dependent on the government? Because all of those people that lost their jobs and stuff like that, a lot of them are on social services, social security, all different kinds of things or whatever. And they want you to be like that. They want you to be broke and dependent on them while they make all the money, because that's how they can control you. They control you if you're always, only got 2 nickels to rub together. They can tell you, oh, take this medical product so you can work it. You'll do it. You'll do anything they tell you to do if you're dependent. And that's what they created, is a society of people here that are dependent.
Efficiency go when COVID hit and we couldn't get medicine. We couldn't get masks or microchips.
Yep.
We were begging.
Why can't America make masks? Why can't they make microchips? Why can't? Because they outsourced everything. They didn't have to do that like that. You understand? And I do feel that, I feel like we might be good in the end, making things here and having more factories here. I just don't see it's not going to make our lives worth it. Anything is creating jobs. You understand? And then y'all talk about all of the jobs that nobody wants to do. But I feel like a lot of these jobs, people will want to do it. I feel like this factory worker is a very skilled job. Some of the stuff that they put together, you know what I'm saying? And it requires special training and stuff like that. You guys are just ignorant. You're ignorant. And we should pay more, to keep jobs here and to keep our economy good here, but we don't have to rely on. What if we went to war with China? We would be fucking doomed. That's a good thing to try to get less reliant on them. You understand? It's crazy. I don't understand people. It's just such common sense to me. But for other people to stay in this situation, they can't make it make sense for me. They can't make it make sense why we would want to keep a government like that, as corrupt and crooked as they are, that do nothing for the people. What? Because you don't like Donald Trump, you want to keep them? It just, the mentality of the people that they can tell them some shit like that and they accept it. It just is mind-boggling to me.
Like a weak country, we were begging for supplies that we used to make here in America, but we stopped making them. So then we had to beg some other country to ship us some stuff that they're making that we no longer make.
Yeah.
Globalism did not lift America up. It ended up bleeding us dry.
Yeah.
And what did we get in return? An opioid epidemic. We got rusting towns. We got skyrocketing inequity. And let's not forget a middle class that's been gasping for air. Mm-hmm. And now I think the tide's turning. Trump's America First doctrine, it's not just a slogan, it's a bulldozer, guys. And it's plowing straight through the fake promises of the past in order to build real opportunity for real Americans. So
that's right. Fake promises, because Democrats have done nothing but give fake promises forever. That's all they do is make, and people, it's like a running joke of like, oh, Democrats promise black people all this stuff, and then when they get elected, it's like they throw them out of the car. Like, it's the truth. I can't think of anything they've done at all for us to be the deciding vote almost every time. I don't understand what they have done for us to earn that. except that they program your mind to think that another option is bad. It makes no sense for me.
Of course, we also got to head south to the Panama Canal. So this is where President Trump's team is executing one of the boldest geopolitical chess moves in modern history. So you're not going to believe what China was trying to do in our own backyard and how Trump just shut it down cold. This next part, guys, it's about our military strategy, shipping lanes, and blocking the Chinese Communist Party from taking over critical territory. Do not go anywhere, guys. Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you right now, it didn't make the front page, even though it should have. While the mainstream media was obsessing over TikTok hearings and diversity pledges, President Trump was quietly taking back control of one of the most strategic locations on planet Earth. You might have heard of the Panama Canal. Well, that's right, guys. China had crept into our own hemisphere right under our noses. They were slowly gaining influence over the canal, a critical global checkpoint that handles nearly 40% of US-bound shipping. If a major conflict broke out, China could have blocked our own military from using the canal.
And listen, he stopped them dead in their damn tracks. That's the kind of leader that we need. I'm sorry, because everybody act like they scared of China. Oh, we gonna die without China and all. You know, they don't have our interests at heart. You think China wants the Panama Canal because they care about us? You got to really watch their media and see their people of what they think about Americans. Now, I'm not saying that all Chinese people feel like this, you understand, but some do. You understand? And they just think that we're dumb and fat and lazy. You understand? And they're not. One guy was even saying that, we dominate the market and we made all our money off of you, but we put it to good use. We did this, we did that, we did this, we did that. What did you do with your money? Your government's corrupt and they didn't do nothing for you. And they are right. They really think Americans are stupid. Now they won't think that with the way that this is going right now. Now, how stupid are we? Because they got cut out that Panama Canal deal. That's why they're in their feelings. That's why they don't want to make a deal, is because of that.
Previous administrations, they let it happen. They were asleep at the wheel. But Trump, he went ahead and slammed the brakes. He threw the CCP right out of the driver's seat. Right out. And so here's what his team did. They reopened Fort Sherman. This is a strategic U.S. military base near the canal.
Now, just imagine you have a base right there and they closed it. What would they do that for? It's like they're giving it to China. You understand? Like the Democratic government, they just did some of the most wicked, wild shit that I don't understand why people align with them. And I feel like it's just because they don't know. So that's the reason why I always try to come on here to share things with you, to elevate your frequency so that you can rise, because we will always be in the dirt if we keep aligning with these people. I'm sorry.
They signed two very historic agreements, giving our military vessels first and free access through the canal. And they formed a very tight alliance with Panama's President Molino, a very proud pro-America, anti-communist leader who's standing up to Chinese pressure. And let's be honest, guys, this is not just about shipping routes. It's about survival. Because think about it. China's playbook isn't just about tariffs and trade. It's about total control. Let me tell you, let me show you what I mean. Across Latin America.
Because they're a part of that big globalist agenda. I feel like our government is communist. They are. You know, they're all a part of that globalist group that want to control the world, and they're all working together. That's why China is allowed to dominate like that. And that's why they're sending all outsourcing everything to them and this and that. I'm telling you, it's a whole big scam of what they do. And, you know, a lot of people don't even know what globalism is, and doesn't even understand that Democrats, that's what they are. It's really scary.
Africa, and even parts of Europe. The CCP is building surveillance infrastructure. They're infiltrating political systems. They're offering.
Now, listen, I forget which country it was in Africa, but they were like, you got 48 hours to get the fuck out of here. because they trying to colonize over there too and stuff. And Africa is like really waking up and telling them to get the fuck out. You understand? And like, because they're dominating, they want to come in and bully you and buy up everything and stuff like that. You know, I don't know, it's crazy. I hope that the world can be more united and make better deals and just be peaceful. Because I feel like one thing I could say, if everybody's getting money, they're gonna be fine. You understand? The only people that's gonna be left out is the Europeans, NATO, and that's it. Because it seems like the rest of the world really is on the same page of like, they don't want to be bothered with Europe and all of this madness that they have inflicted on the world, colonizing and doing the most in China too. You understand? So a lot of these countries don't really want to be bothered. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know.
Debt trap loans to install their influence over poor nations, and installing facial recognition cameras tied to their own internal AI systems. They're trying to export the Chinese surveillance state worldwide. That's what they're trying to do. This is not, some people will say, you know, oh, you're just paranoid. This is not paranoia. This is a documented agenda. Yes, they don't want just dominance. They want compliance. And if they can get control of key trade routes and puppet governments, they can
puppet governments like the Democratic government. They are globalists. Look at their agendas. They are globalists.
Spy, they could monitor, they could censor, they can shut down anybody who resists. But with Trump, I think it's
TikTok censors like crazy now, and TikTok is a Chinese application. There really is no way that we should have something like that here, because they use it to propagandize Americans, and they're very successfully. You know what I'm saying? They have been using TikTok to propagandize us, and I don't know. I just feel like we do the dumbest shit. I just don't get it.
Simple. Not on our watch. President Trump's doing something that no one else dared to do, because basically he's building a wall of resistance against Chinese expansion, not just in trade, but in military, surveillance, and ideological warfare. This is why the elites hate him.
Yeah.
This is why the CCP.
This is why I don't understand. People don't get this, because from day one, Donald Trump, before they even started going after him and shit like that, he said, I'm going to drain the swamp. I'm going to expose them. I'm going to show everybody what they're doing and this and that. He always said that. And they went after him because he said he was going to do it. You know, they got him out the first time, but he came hard the next time. You understand? And I feel like people saw that they weren't doing shit, you know, the Democrats, and they were full of crap, and they let all these people come in and this and that. They just did a lot of terrible things and COVID policies and all these things that people were over them, and that, you know, people got tired. You know, I guess they felt like, you know, people would stay with them and they didn't have to work for it, you know, and they found out. They fucked around and found out. Is that what everybody say? But, you know, I just feel like, you know, it's the end of an era for globalism. It really is, but not if people don't wake up to it and realize what is going on, you know. And I feel like Europe, NATO, like, I really pray and wish that Trump will come out of NATO. Europe was talking shit, and then they even want to make a deal because they know what our money, their ass is grass. You know, as much problems and conflicts that they create all the time, the EU, their ass is grass. I just wish that they would fight their own wars and leave us alone. I don't think our money should go to them at all.
He fears him. And this is why the American people are starting to realize just how dangerous the alternative really is. Now, if this stuff feels big, guys, it's because it is. We're in the middle of a global economic reset. And if you're not positioned right, it's easy to get swept under. Now, if you're tired of worried about your future, if you're done living paycheck to paycheck while governments and corporations play chess with your life.
We're going to go into this financial thing that he has going on. And it actually is good. Like, you should look at his channel. It's in the description. And like, I do watch a lot of finance channels. I watch a lot of things about stocks and different things and how you should move during this time. Because, you know, a lot of people think it's going to be bad, but I just don't think it is. I feel like it might be a very lucrative time for America if you know how to move. So you guys need to watch those finance stuff. And don't watch leftist things, because that's gonna get you messed up, because they be lying and they're gonna tell you all the wrong things to do, to get you messed up. Now, this is a quick little video right here that I have to show you guys. Because this one is a quick video about why most of the world don't like doing business with China. Hold on. Wait a minute. There we go. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, guys. This is all discombobulated. Always. Okay. Okay, now this video was very interesting. This is what mainstream media don't want to show. Now, I probably won't even load.
Citizens took to the street to demand democracy and say no to dictatorship. It seems Xi Jinping didn't learn his lesson because he's talking about enacting martial law again. Here are the details. I hear from multiple channels how Beijing has increased internal control and surveillance, fearing that the de facto trade blockage will cause internal turmoil. Perhaps it's too early for that, but the pressure is already felt. Yes, I can confirm they are preparing for an uptick in unrest, possibly even enacting martial law if needed. Now, the question rises, why is Xi Jinping freaking out again? Why does CCP feel the need to clamp down on its own citizens?
Yeah.
Well, that has to do with this trade war and how badly the Chinese economy is already suffering.
So America is making the mainstream media news is making it seem like it's not affecting them whatsoever and everything's going great for them there, but the people are about to revolt. The shit is about to collapse and the people are going crazy and the people are losing money and factories are shutting down their work. The people are not working, and I mean they're lying.
Local factories are shutting down, Chinese citizens are losing their livelihood, and on top of that, Chinese allies are realizing that they were getting the short end of the stick when they were trading with China. Let's start with the local factories.
They say I'm spreading rumors. Let me show you. The factory is on break, waiting for further notice. I need to find temporary workers. This is the reality.
Today, I met with a client in the textile.
And they say a lot of the factories are looking like that because a lot of the, especially a lot of the American, because I guess we use them so much, are canceling their orders left and right because they don't want to pay the higher costs or whatever the case may be. But they're just canceling a lot of these orders, and these factories are not going to sustain themselves long. You know how much rent is for a factory, and then you still got to pay your workers and stuff like that. So they're already worrying and they're angry because they wish that he would just make a deal so everything can just go back to the way it was.
Export business. The raw materials had just arrived in the morning and production was about to start, but by noon they were hit with news of a 104% tariff. As a result, all the orders were canceled and the factory immediately announced a shutdown. Sure, we also imposed an 84% tariff.
If they're canceling all their orders, they're not going to have people sitting there working and getting getting checks and using all. And they said the machines take a lot of energy to run and all. They shut that shit down until they figure out what's going on.
The U.S. And that did boost morale, right? But after the slogans fade, has anyone really thought about what comes next? The most immediate impact is that many export-focused factories will have to cut production, lay off workers, and a lot of people could lose their jobs.
These people who are losing their jobs are realizing that their government is making a huge mistake. And to distract all...
But see, this is the thing. The governments do not give a shit, especially globalist governments like this, because they don't care about the people. They are trying to control the whole world. That's why they're mad about that Panama Canal thing. I feel like he's holding out and being in his feelings because of that. You know what I'm saying? And, the people see it. The people there are like, what the hell? Just make a fair deal and let's keep going. I don't see what the big deal is of making a fair deal. Like, why can't they just make a fair deal and go? Have the same amount of tariffs on each other, make fair deals with each other. And what's the problem? I don't understand what the problem is.
These people, CCP is spreading anti-American sentiment all throughout Chinese social media.
Yes, they
Every
are.
year, China spends 225 billion yuan to hire 4 million internet commentators who are pushing Chinese government's propaganda.
Trust me, they have them here too. During COVID, they were paying people to propagandize. So don't get it twisted. And if you just go on TikTok, if you don't believe me, and just scroll, and you're gonna see all the propaganda coming through.
There are thousands of them on Twitter. There are likely hundreds of thousands of them on YouTube, and millions and millions of Chinese propagandists on TikTok. In fact, Chinese bot farms on YouTube have been exposed for downvoting any video that criticizes the CCP on this platform. I'm sure they're working overtime right now. This is why, if you guys can do us a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button down below to counteract the downvoting that CCP.
A lot of the time, you gotta not listen to mainstream media so much, because you gotta get out in the rest of the world and get news from other countries and stuff like that. You know, watch the finances and see, you know, I like to watch the finance channels too, because that really tells you a lot about what's going on in the world and with the different economies and stuff like that. So let me show you this last video. We're getting out of here. Okay, so what does this one say? The top 10 countries that hate China, even though they made a typo. I do that all the time too. It's all good. The top 10 countries that hate China 2024. Find out which countries hate China the most. Now, I just told you that the World Trade Organization says that China has 200 cases against them from different countries for fraudulent shit they be doing, not paying, not following the rules and stuff like that. And, you know, they don't really want them in it no more. You know what I mean? So you guys got to go down the rabbit hole sometimes and figure out if what you're being told is true. I can guarantee you that what mainstream media at this point is not telling. They're telling you straight lies 24/7 because they are desperate, and you're not getting anything, any real news from them at this point. I'm just telling y'all.
From 10 to 1, we're about to unveil the top countries that have a bone to pick with China. Brace yourselves, the countdown begins now. It's a journey through a labyrinth of historical conflicts, economic rivalries, and political tensions, each country with its unique set of issues. From trade disputes in the Pacific to human rights concerns across continents, it's a global tapestry of contention.
And listen, a lot of countries don't want to be bothered with China because of their human rights shit they be doing to the people. They don't want to be bothered with them. And, you know, it's just like Trump was saying that, you know, that Europe has too many policies that go against the people as far as free speech and stuff. Like they lock you up for memes over there, and like they're just doing too much. And he said, I'm not paying any money until you get rid of some of these tyrannical policies and stuff like that. But the mainstream media won't tell you that. You understand? A lot of it, because the United States have a lot of clout and power in different places, and you know, and a lot of nations feel the same when another country is treating its people bad or doing some type of inhumane thing or whatever. They don't want to be aligned with it. You understand? So listen to this.
The intrigue is palpable, the stakes high. At number 10, we have Sweden. Sweden, known for its neutrality, finds itself at odds with China over human rights issues and the treatment of Swedish citizens in China. The diplomatic tension is palpable as these issues continue to strain the bilateral relationship. Next in line at number 9, we have the Philippines. Despite recent diplomatic efforts, the Philippines remains embroiled in ongoing disputes with China in the South China Sea. Tensions over territorial claims and resource rights continue to strain relations, casting a shadow over diplomatic progress. Moving on at number 8, we find Vietnam. Vietnam, with its historical conflicts and territorial disputes in the South China Sea, continues to grapple with its relationship with China. The echoes of past wars and current disagreements over maritime boundaries fuel a simmering tension. Up next at number 7 is the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom expresses concerns over Hong Kong, 5G infrastructure decisions, and human rights issues in relation to China. These disputes have strained the UK.
But I know Britain ain't talking with all the human rights shit they done did over there over centuries. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is that a lot of countries, you know, are not feeling China in the way they move.
China relations, casting a shadow of unease over future collaborations. Coming in at number 6, we have Canada. Canada's relationship with China is strained by incidents like the Huawei CFO's arrest and the detention of Canadian citizens in China. These events have created a palpable tension, overshadowing any diplomatic.
Mainstream media doesn't mention any things like this because they want you to think that China is the best thing since pockets, and we are wrong for wanting to not align with them, and we are wrong for wanting them to make a fair deal, and we are stupid for thinking that we can, make the same things that they make here, or somewhere else can make it. If you want to get cheaper labor, there's other nations that would supply it. It don't have to be them, and they're scrambling like crazy and fighting for these bids to make all this stuff. It's crazy, but the mainstream media is not telling you. Like India, I feel like India is going to be the new China to America because, they're making a deal. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know. And a lot of the countries don't want to trade with them. They're trying to do this new thing, So I don't know. It might not go the way they're thinking. That's what I'm saying. And we need to stop being so scared and just give it a chance and see, what's going to happen, It's like a game of chicken. But I just feel like our country is in a better position because they just have more allies for the moment. You understand? So let's see.
Diplomatic efforts. Halfway through our countdown, at number 5, we have Australia. Australia faces recent trade disputes, political disagreements, and concerns over China's influence in the Pacific region. The relationship is strained as Australia grapples with the economic and geopolitical implications of its neighbors' growing power. At number 4, we find Japan. Japan's relationship with China is marred by historical conflicts, territorial disputes, and regional rivalry. These issues, particularly the contest over the Senkaku Diaoyu Islands, continue to drive a wedge between the two nations. Getting closer to the top, at number 3, we have India. India's relationship with China is impacted by border disputes, economic competition.
And listen, you heard economic competition because India was like, we'll make a deal and we'll do it. What do you need us to make? We'll set up the factories. We'll do it. That's why I say India going to be the new China, honey, as far as, where we going to get stuff from. Because they are scrambling. There's a lot of nations that want to get these contracts. You understand? So, it's going to be crazy. And like some of the tech stuff is going to be made here. Some of those companies that were in China are leaving to come here. I'm telling you, the mainstream media is not telling you the truth. You understand? Some of those companies are moving their factories to America, or they can take that same factory and move it to India. And they can throw that shit together in no time flat, couple months, and be moving. So, you guys got to stop being so scared. I can't stand those scared ass people all the time. You don't get nowhere in life if you're afraid of everything.
And political tensions. These issues stem from differing political ideologies and territorial claims, leading to a strained relationship. The economic rivalry also feeds into this complex dynamic. In the runner-up position at number 2, we have Germany. Germany, despite strong trade relations,
they are beefing with every major country on the planet. It's like, and this is what I said about the World Trade Organization or whatever. They, everybody have complaints about China. Of all of the complaints, half of them are about China. And the people don't want to really do business with them no more. They doing this to their self for carrying on. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Harbors concerns over human rights, intellectual property, and reliance on the Chinese market. These issues,
intellectual property is taking somebody else's idea and knocking it off and then making the money for it. And you know what I'm saying? And never, giving the person who created it their little portions and stuff. And they are known for doing this. And we know they do this. You understand? And that's why a lot of people, they want them out of the World Trade Organization. They didn't even want them in the first place. But I can't remember which president allowed them in, but nobody wanted them. And another president probably took a kickback to get them in it. You understand? And they just been running amok ever since. You understand? So there's a history there. It's not like just, out of nowhere, we're not going to trade with China. No, they don't want to trade with us. They want to keep dominating and they want to, act like they have all the cards and, be gangster and deboing and shit. Like, oh no, well, we just not going to make a deal. Why wouldn't you want to make a fair deal? Like, if you're charging us tariffs and we're going to charge you the same exact amount, why are you in your feelings about that? Why can't you just charge the same thing? You know what I'm saying? They charge astronomical tariffs for certain things, but then when you want to put the same tariff, they don't want it. It just doesn't make no sense. And I feel like they just got so used to our government letting them run amok and getting away with all of this stuff that they don't, it's going to really cost them to do the right thing at this point. They done got so comfortable for decades in not paying or paying such a little bit. You know, I don't know. I just don't see how this is going to work out in their favor at all.
Issues underscore the complexity of the Sino-German relationship, a dance of diplomacy amidst diverging interests. And now we've arrived at the top of our list. At number 1, we have the United States. The United States, with its historically complex relationship, current trade tensions, human rights issues, and technological competition, stands at the
And I'm
forefront.
telling you, a lot of countries don't want to align with them because of their human rights issues. You understand? They be doing a lot to their people and stuff like that. So in the work, the way they work and stuff is messing up the market for everybody, because other countries are not going to do all of them violations and treat the workers like that and pay the people next to nothing and have these crazy hours and all and work the people hard and shit. You know, they feel like they're dominating, but they're doing corrupt shit that the rest of the world just don't want to do it. You understand? And I feel like it might make things go up because people will get paid honestly and fairly. And who doesn't want that? You know what I mean? Oh, let's keep China, you know, in the position that they're in, abusing people to make all the money and treat everybody unfair and crazy. Why would we want it like that? That doesn't make any sense to me. I just think that that's messed up. And that's why a lot of countries don't want to align with them.
Front of China's most contentious international relationships. At the core, these nations grapple with trade disputes and technological rivalry.
Okay.
Additionally, the U.S. voices concerns over human rights in China, adding another layer of complexity. And there you have it, the top 10 countries with the most contentious relationships with China. Remember, diplomacy is a constantly changing game. Stay tuned for more up.
And there you have it, folks. The truth about that shit. So listen, you know, I would suggest that, you know, you guys, I tell you almost every time, is go down the rabbit holes. If you are watching mainstream media, don't believe everything that they're telling you. Do the research. Get off of Google. Go to a private search engine and do the research. Go on YouTube and watch the videos of the people that have a narrative that is opposite of yours and research what they're saying and see if it's true. I watched so much stuff about this and I read so much stuff about it. And you gotta read read articles, read and understand like civics and understand finance and trade and how it all works and stuff. And then you'll see that this is not a bad plan. It's really not. And to me, I'd rather be on the side of all of the nations that are making a deal to work together to achieve something than to be on the side of our government in one nation that's doing the most. Both are doing the most of corrupt shit. So make it make sense. This is just dumb to me, anybody that is on the wrong side of this. And just like I told you with COVID, you're going to be on the wrong side of history. You're going to be on the wrong side of history this time, because I really do feel like our country is going to be better in the end. I feel like they've done so much in a few months. I can't imagine all they will achieve at the end of 4 years. And I know Democrats are never getting back in office. No time soon. I don't see them ever recovering from this. I don't know what it would take, you know, for them to ever recover from this, because in the next 4 years, I just feel like we will be so much better off. I mean, we're already better off now that the border is closed. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody got a problem with immigrants. Just come legally. Can we know who you are? Can we make sure you're not crazy out of an asylum or something crazy, or out of prison or whatever, or a whole group of gang members coming to set up shop? Like, that is dumb to me. The policies they have are dumb to me. You understand? So I say all this to say is like, you guys, please hear me. You cannot trust the mainstream media. You are propagandized if you listen to that all the time. You have to get out get off your couch, get out of your bed, go out in the world and see other things. Talk to people. I talk to a lot of people. That's another thing. I talk to a lot of people. I like to have discussions with people. I don't think I know everything. You know, I probably don't know a lot of things. I know I don't know a lot of things. That's why I read a lot and I watch a lot of videos and I talk to people and stuff and try to get the right, you know, the evidence I need to have discernment. And I use my discernment to navigate what is true and what is false. And with the amount of corruption that this government, we all know is corrupt. And now that it's been exposed and we have a chance to do something different, y'all fighting to hold on to hold on to it. It's like during slavery when they told the slaves, you're free, you can leave, and they stayed on the plantation because they were too scared to leave. Then you had those was like, I'm the fuck out of here. I'll figure it out. And they left. But a good portion of them stayed because they just were afraid that they couldn't make it, and that's how I see the American people at this point. You know, they're just scared. And you know, fear is just an illusion most of the time, because a lot of the things that you make up in your mind of fear, or a lot of the things that the government tells you to fear, it hasn't happened, and it probably won't even happen. You know, look how many people thought they were going to die from COVID, and then years later we find out that the reason why most of the people died was because of the treatments that they were given weren't the right treatments for the illnesses that they had. That's facts. You understand? So a lot of the people probably could have been alive if the government wasn't blocking the right treatments that they needed and stopping, you know, the doctors from treating the patients the way they knew work. And y'all falling for it right again. It's like you can't trust these people. You know, they don't have our interests at heart. Anytime globalists can say the future is not human and that we need to get rid of like most of the people on earth because it's 90% too many people here and they're useless and we don't need them because of AI and robots and all this and that. Why would you trust these people? Why? It's like, to me, sometimes I feel like it's like beating a dead horse, but that 20% approval rating gives me hope and fire to continue. Because can we please make the 20% 0%, a big old zero, please? Can we? Please, can we? And move forward, okay? And let these people be in our rearview mirror and a thing of the past. And, you know, listen, you know, this, you know, I feel like my lives get longer and longer because it's just so much going on. And I just feel like every day I come on social media and it's some person and I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with them? Like, how do they believe what they're told? Like, you know, what makes people believe these narratives that they're fed? Because you're not in a good position in this country for the most part. Most of the people here are not in a good position in this country. And if we keep letting it go on the way that it's going, we all are going to be screwed. Because I'm telling you, go look at the World Health Forum. Go look on their website and read about it. Okay? The World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, the United Nations. Go look at what these people be doing. Go look at what they say the future is going to be for us here. All you people that work in offices is a wrap for you. Because they don't need you, because AI can do the work. You know, if you could create AI, you might have a job, but nobody has a job. Ain't nobody working. You know, I seen them make whole movies out of AI. No real actors in it whatsoever. So they don't need us. You know, I work in the film industry. Like, a lot of things are going to change, and we got to, you know, reinvent ourselves and figure out what you're going to do in the new world, because we're out of the information age. Now you got all the information that you need, because now we're going into the AI age. What are you going to do? All of us might be factory workers in the AI age. Shit, it ain't going to be nothing for your ass to do, but go sit your ass in a factory. Or if you know vocational skills and you're an electrician and you could build a house and things like that. You understand? That's what's going to be left. So y'all better wake the frick up. Your ass is going to be sitting in a factory here sewing some t-shirts or whatever. You understand? Y'all better learn it. So I'm going to go. I love you. This means I love you in sign language, because I do. If you sat through this with me, if you watched this whole video, I appreciate you. You are a Viking, you're a warrior, and you are somebody that, you know, has discernment. If you sat through this video. And I appreciate anybody that watches these videos. I really do. I'm not going to say I'm new to streaming, but, you know, I'm new-ish. You know, I've been doing it for like a year, and I stop and I start and I stop and I start. Just now have I started becoming more consistent with it. And I like to do the lives because I really don't like to sit there and edit an hour-long video. I do make reels out of them, so they're like more watchable. I take the most important parts out of it and make reels of it and stuff like that. Once that live button goes on there, any mistakes that's in there, they in there. It is what it is. But I thank you guys for watching me. I really appreciate it. I really do. And you guys, elevate your frequency. The only way you're going to elevate your frequency is by being in reality, and get out in the world and just see different things and talk to different people. Listen to all perspectives of an idea. Even if you don't agree, just hear it out, because it might be one sentence in there that turns on the light and make you think, oh, you know what I'm saying? And then you down a rabbit hole on that thing. You understand? So, I just want to see everybody elevate their frequency, especially my people, because I feel like we get played a lot because we were emotional. You understand? So they know anything will put us in our emotions, and then we're not thinking from a rational place. You understand? The Democratic Party has done nothing for us. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like China does nothing for us either. Honestly, I feel like we live in America. Whether we like it or not, the history is what it is, and it is what it is, and that's history. What can we do to change it today? We are not enslaved today. We are not on a plantation today. Make the most of that. You can be anything you want to be, and you can do anything you want to do. Have big dreams, believe it. Just know that whatever you want for yourself, you can manifest it, but you got to do the work. So this is why I'm on here. I'm doing the work. All right, you guys, I love you. I am Shelly B. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate you, and have a lovely, lovely evening. Good night.